I'm white and was adopted into a black family. Ask me anything, Reddit. Do you get a lot of death stares from other people? I've had people look at me sort of weirdly but not proper death stares, and have had people assume I'm just a friend of the family. And how do you feel about that? It does suck that some people assume I'm not part of the family, but in fairness I'm not related, no matter how much I'm part of the family, so it doesn't bother me too much. What is the funniest thing that happened to your family because of your color? Probably this woman asking if I was my brother's girlfriend. Not that funny, but was in the moment. How old were you when they brought you in? My birth parents had decided, before I was born, that I would be adopted, so my adoptive parents took me home that day, though there was still a period of time where it wasn't legal, giving my birth parents time to change their minds. Did they let you know from the beginning you were adopted? I grew up knowing I was different to them, and they never lied to me saying they are biologically my parents, but never knew what adoption was till about age 6 or 7. What is the weirdest question you've ever been asked? Honestly, there are so many. One I'll always remember is being asked if, since I grew up with them, if I thought I was black too. Did you? Well, no, but for a few months thought I was albino until my mum said no. What country were you born in? What country do you live in? Born and live in Scotland. How does your extended family treat you? My dad's side of the family is also nice. Never met my mum's side of the family, but that's issues between them and her, not to do with me. I'm Asian and was adopted into a white family, with basically all my friends being white too because of where I've lived. Does it ever bother you when you're with your family and you know they are not your biological parents and the life you have isn't necessarily the life you would have had you not been adopted? Maybe it's just worse for me because I was born in a completely different country. LMAO. I sometimes think about how my life would be different if I was raised by my birth parents, but my life is amazing, so I can only think life with them wouldn't be as good. Have you ever heard people being racist towards black people? How did you react? Do you think you have more insight on the racism since you're white and coming from a black family? Yeah and no, my family have had people being just straight up racist, but honestly never witnessed it myself when with them, and don't understand racism at all. Have you received more questions about your adoption or your family's race? Do others treat you differently for one or the other when they are made aware? If someone finds out I'm adopted without knowing my family's race, then it's just typical adoption questions. If they do know though, then most questions include race, and I don't think so, or just not that I've noticed. Do you have an N-word pass? Don't feel comfortable saying it though, my brothers say it's fine with just them. And now a more serious question. How do you see it to the rest of white folks? It's a heavy issue, or should be considered just a word. I think it should just be seen as a word, unless used to be offensive. I read an article once about a black family that adopted a white baby, and they were saying they sometimes get really racist reactions, like one woman who assumed the mom was the baby's nanny, or another who called the police because they thought it was a kidnapping. Have you ever experienced anything like that? I get people who think they are not my family, but nothing like that. Have you ever met your birth parents? No, but I know they don't live that far away. What made them put you up for adoption, if you know? They were both still in high school, and also my biological mum had autism and knew herself she couldn't raise a kid. Do you wanna meet them? I think it would be kind of nice, but I'd only do it if I knew they would be okay with seeing me. I know it was an upsetting choice for them. What is something someone said to you that was meant as a compliment but came out all wrong? This girl a few doors down once said I was the nicest in my family. Nothing wrong with that compliment, and I smiled. Then I feel bad for her. She tried saving herself, which didn't have to do, and she said I'm not saying that cause they are all black. Oh god, and I think she just made a mistake, but it did kinda become awkward. Haha, she is really nice though. Have you ever experienced negativity from a white person when they find out your family is black? Not in real life, have online though. How do you all arrange yourselves for family pictures? I can only picture one family picture in my head, and we had all the family there. Tallest standing behind sofa, medium on the sofa, and smallest kneeling on the floor. Think that's the only photo we have all together. Our other pictures are just randomly separate. I have pics of me with my brothers, and usually me and my closest in age brother are in front, since we are smallest. Haha. Have you ever asked your parents why they chose you? In school, if your other siblings were in school same time as you, have you ever had to jump in and defend them from racism or general unpleasantness? And what was the other party's reaction? All I know is that they wanted a girl mayo. I used to be in school with two of my brothers, and they had no issues with racism. We went to different high schools though, and there has been race issues for them, but wasn't there to stick up for them. I'll always be there for them for stuff like that though. Have you noticed any interesting cultural differences between you and kids that grew up in an all-white family? I do notice differences, but IDK if that's just normal differences. What kind of differences? House rules, ways of acting around family/guests, stuff like that. How do black people outside your family react to this? Usually just asking questions they're curious about in my life. Did you have a nice childhood? Do you feel close to your family? Do you feel like you were nurtured? Those are the things that matter. I have the best and most loving family and a wonderful childhood. Always cared for and looked after. I really feel so lucky. Did you develop character traits that you would consider black? Don't think so. My family actually act pretty white. When you're in the presence of a group of white people and you hear racism, jokes/stereotyping happening, how do you react? Do you correct them? Or do you keep silent and walk away so you don't have to listen to it? I hear racist jokes from friends and on TV. If they're funny, I laugh. Jokes are just meant to be jokes and not taken seriously, but I don't find racism itself funny, and if someone was just plain racist and tried to disguise their racist comments as jokes, I wouldn't be laughing. Have you ever asked your parents about why they adopted a white kid versus a black kid? My birth parents I think chose my parents, and then after they just all liked each other and knew I'd be raised with love. If two guys are similar in everything except race, would you prefer someone who looked like you or your family? Can't really decide. All my crushes so far have been white guys though. Do you know how to swim? Yup, me and my brothers had swimming lessons when we were younger, but now I only swim for fun.